Please sit down.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Thank you, sir.
Come. Since we have enough of a distance, you can, if you feel comfortable, take off your
Yes,
mask.
sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Mr. Jaspinder Singh, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
No. With your permission, I'll call you Jaspinder. Okay, Jaspinder, tell us something about your own family background, where you come from, what your early influences were, what prompts you to come into to seek to join the public services, the civil service, and what are the major factors that influence this decision, including inspirational figures, etc. Right.
Yes, sir. Sir, I was born in village Pullar, district Shri Muktsar Sahib of Panjab, sir. And my father is a farmer. My mother, she's a housewife, sir. And I have done my schooling itself from district Shri Muktsar Sahib. And later on, I have done my graduation, that is BA LLB Honours from Panjab University, Chandigarh. And I come from rural as well as agricultural background. And later on, I have done the graduation in law, and I aspire to become civil servant because the civil servants, when they are going to make the change in the lives of people, sir, that is something that gives you intellectual satisfaction, sir. So the incident that I can quote where for the first time I felt like doing this on the 26th of January when I participated in the parade, giving the wheelchair and the stitching machines to the poor women. So the DC was giving it, and the smile that they were carrying on their faces. So some such incidents that made me that you're going to make the change in the lives of people, sir. That's why civil services, sir. Mm-hmm. Intellectual satisfaction it gives you, sir. Yes, sir.
And the sense of service to the community.
Yes.
Now
sir.
Tell me, what are some of the major developments in the past few decades that have helped to make our democracy in India that much more accountable to the people, both from the point of view of the officials, as well as the systems and the structures itself?
Yes, sir. So if I may take a few seconds.
Yes.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Sir, if we talk about past few decades, then what comes to my mind is that after the LPG reforms, that we were open to the participation of the people in the economy like freely. There was no license Raj. Firstly, economy-wise, we were open, and secondly, when we talk about 2005 RTI and Manrega, they have made a huge impact on our economy as well as democracy as well as society, sir. And where the transparency in the bureaucracy and in the services that has increased, strengthening our democracy, sir. So that I believe are the watershed moments. And then later on, digital touch in 2014, digital economy, and that is it, sir.
Can you name some 4 or 5 important court decisions which have helped in the same thing, in strengthening our democracy, giving real meaning to our fundamental rights and things like that?
Yes, sir. So chronologically, if I'll speak, so firstly, in 1962 Kedarnath judgment, sir, which was to mild the usage of sedition laws only where it was required, where there is incitement of incitement of violence. Then secondly, Keshavananda Bharati versus state of Kerala, yes, where a basic structure of Indian constitution came up. Then in SR Bommai 1993, where federalism was said as a basic part of the basic structure of Indian constitution, yes, sir. Then recently case Puttaswamy, and before that, sir, Vishakha versus state of Rajasthan, and Navtej Singh Johar. So these are certain recent judgments which have.
And for as far as regards Panchayati Raj, now suppose you were, I'd like you to reflect on what would you hold as the main priorities as a district officer in order to be able to work well with the Panchayati Raj institutions?
Yes, sir. So for the panchayats are promoting the grassroots democracy, sir. So there what can be done is that the district level planning that happens as per the constitution, that can be strengthened by making a district level where we incorporate the village panchayat into the district level planning system, and then our policies can be oriented as per the plan. For example, be it Manrega, where we can fructify from those policies, sir. That is how the things can be done better, sir.
Do you know what the human development reports are? How do you classify, how would you compare the human development, the overall progress of human development indices in Punjab, and compare them with, say, a state of like Kerala?
Yes, sir. So Human Development Index or Human Development Index, it was by Amartya Sen, and so UNDP is also international report is there given by UNDP. And with respect to Punjab, sir, on the basis of health, on the basis of education, and on the basis of income of the state. Yes, sir. So being when we talk about per capita income, sir, and we compare the states, then no doubt that here Punjab is ahead of state of Kerala. But when we talk about human development in the arena of health and in the arena of education, Kerala has done much better than the state of Punjab, sir.
Yeah, do you have any comparative figures you could recall, or you don't?
Sir, what I can recall right now is with respect to sex ratio. There in Punjab right now it is increasing to it is touching 900 approximately, and in Kerala it is approximately 1000, sir, and which is much better than state of Punjab.
Okay, now, which institution in the government of India handles the assessments of the sustainable development goals?
Yes, sir.
The SDGs on the part of states. Who oversees that?
So Niti Aayog, it oversees, sir.
How would you say, how do they broadly categorize the various states? Do you have any idea?
So right now I am not able to recall, but there is certain forerunners and those which are developed states, they are categorized into the category of forerunners, achievers, or in this way.
Very
sir.
good. Yes,
Yes,
thank
sir.
you. Go ahead.
Thank you, sir.
Jaspinder.
Yes, sir.
Chief Justice of India, Mr. Ramana, he made a statement that if Supreme Court has to pass orders on all the PILs concerning political issues, then what is the purpose of having the Lok Sabha, the Raj Sabha, and the state assemblies? Was he justified in making such a statement?
So when we talk about PILs, and Justice Ramana saying this, with respect to PILs, I think the statement was for separation of powers, sir, and to that extent he is justified enough saying this, that there should be separation of powers. But Supreme Court is required to intervene only in the cases where the executives and legislatures are not taking the required action, sir. That is what I would say, sir.
So is it then fair to say that the executive is abdicating its powers and authority to the judiciary?
Sir, outrightly this cannot be said that it is abdicating its power, but where the need be, the judiciary has to intervene for the sake of the Constitution of India, and as it was said by Justice P.N. Bhagwati and V.R. Krishna Iyer. So that is how...
Let's take the hijab ban.
Yes, sir.
Who should have taken a decision on this? Should the decision have been taken by the assembly, the executive, or the judiciary?
So this issue could have been...
There are sufficient court judgments on...
Yes, sir. Sir, this issue could have been solved by the state itself.
The state maybe now you have the assembly and you have the executive.
Yes, sir.
So which wing of the state?
As it was, the order was passed by the executives with respect to hijab ban. So here, this issue would not have cropped up for the sake of the judgment had that issue not been passed. So court had to intervene in this case for the fundamental rights.
Court had to intervene It is now becoming a normal practice that on all issues there is a PIL filed, and then the court decides, and then the executive takes a position that now it is sub judice and will wait for the court judgment. And then when the court issues a judgment, the executive says we will just simply implement the court judgment. The executive does not apply its mind.
Yes, sir. So, yes, sir, this is a cause of great concern to my mind, sir. And in our country, it is really a cause of great concern where every other issue the court has to decide these days. And this should not be the case. Every organ of the government must be doing its own duty, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now, inflation, RBI, repo rate.
Sir.
First of all, what do we mean by repo rate? Very simple term.
Yes, sir. Sir, it is a repurchase rate, sir, where in simple terms, the banks get the loan from the RBI on the repo rate, in very simple words.
And what is the complex terms?
Sir, in complex terms, that this is that agreement in which they promise that we will be repurchasing the bonds, and that is the complexity of it.
Now, I have a question here. How does a rate of interest, a repo rate, increase in the repo rate, control inflation? What is the entire process like?
So when repo rate it increases, then the money in the market that becomes like the loans become costly for the banks, and so when it is passed in the economy, then loans become costly for the economy when the repo rate is high. So in this way, the money supply is like lessened or decreased, which leads to control of inflation, sir.
Control of inflation in what way? Because it is ultimately prices of commodities,
yes,
a basket of commodities. Now, how does the prices get influenced by, say, the rate of interest on loan increasing?
Yes, sir. So lesser the money in the hands of people, so lesser will be the demand in the economy, sir, and then demand will be running the prices of the goods, sir. Yes, sir.
So demand suppression.
Yes, sir.
Now, do you think in the current financial scenario, do you think just simply changing the interest rate will be sufficient to control the inflation?
So this is one of the ways, but it is not the sufficient way to control the inflation. I think here the food prices cannot be easily, or there are certain things that are very much essential for the economy, be it crude oil, be it food prices. And for that, we need some other structural, like agriculture reforms or supply chain is also required.
See, agriculture reforms are long-term issues.
Yes, sir.
Here we are dealing with a short-term problem, an immediate problem.
Yes, sir. So here again, only repo rates cannot, or monetary policy is not sufficient. Fiscal help can also be taken, sir.
Here. Yeah, here also the executive is abdicating its authority to the RBI.
Sir,
can we put it that way?
So no, executive.
Is the executive doing sufficient?
So one job is being provided to the RBI, and if other thing has to be done, then executive will interfere. For example, in banning the export and stuff like that. So their executives do interfere at times.
Acha, Jaspinder, you come from Punjab, which is known to be connected with agriculture. You belong to an agriculture farmer. Do you think in all these present circumstances with rising commodity prices and all that, should we export wheat? Should we increase the export of wheat? We have been traditionally exporting wheat, but should we increase the export of wheat?
So we have to be very mindful of inflation right now with respect to exports. But I would say that we should be open for exports because that is going to impact the farmer's income in the end. So we must be open for export that ways. Yes, mindful of inflation is very important here, sir.
Mindful of inflation or mindful of the poor?
So mindful of the poor as in we are already having PDS with respect to grains, public distribution system, which is serving the lower rung of the society with respect to grains. And where the inflation is concerned, there we need to take care of it, sir. With respect to our buffer norms and all, we can bring it, open sale in the economy can also be done of the...
How do you regulate the exports?
As in, sir?
How do you regulate exports?
By the...
Should we ban the exports or how do you regulate it?
It cannot be outrightly banned, sir. Now we are not autarky with respect to our economy, sir, and we need to rather we should regulate it in a
There is
way.
a very interesting way which government has done just now, which has not been highlighted. Something to do with the railways. They have decreased the number of rakes for exports
Fine, sir.
made available.
It's used for coal these days.
No, it's being used for domestic food grain movement and coal,
Yes, sir.
and decrease the rakes for exports,
Fine, sir.
which no one has talked about.
Okay, sir. Thank you,
That
sir.
they have certainly done. Okay, thank you, Jaspinder.
Thank you so much, sir.
Good afternoon, Jaspinder.
Good afternoon, sir.
You belong to Muktasar Sahib, right?
Yes, sir.
What is the significance of Muktasar Sahib in the Sikh history?
Sir, Battle of Muktsar was fought between Guru Gobind Singh Ji and the Mughal army in 1705, and here 46 they died in this battle fighting for Guru Gobind Singh Ji's army, and in their name they were said to be Muktas, the 40 Muktas, and in their name the name of the city is Muktsar Sahib.
Okay.
Yes,
Guru Gobind Singh Ji was the 10th Guru.
yes, sir.
He could have allowed the lineage to go on with the Gurus, but why did he propose that holy book, Guru Granth Sahib Ji, will be treated as the Guru, and there will be no further Gurus?
Yes, sir. Sir, with respect to this, there are two reasons that are coming to my mind. That is, firstly, that after all the 10 Gurus, their Gurbani was already written in Guru Granth Sahib through Guru Gobind Singh Ji, and finding another Guru at that point of time when there was when the Aurangzeb army, or when the things were not going in your favor, at that point of time it was better that the gist of all the 10 Gurus must be remembered. That is the 11th Guru, that is Guru Granth Sahib. The people should follow Guru Granth Sahib, which means that all the 10 Gurus. So that is how I see it, sir.
Could it be the reason that all his 4 sons got, 2 got killed in the battle and 2 were killed by the Mughals? So could it be reason that he didn't have any progeny so that he could hand over, and
No,
he thought that this would be the right thing to do?
No, sir, this cannot be the reason, because Guru Nanak Dev Ji never gave the second Gaddi to his son, despite having 2 sons. Guru Amar Das Ji didn't give, Guru Angad Dev Ji, he didn't give. So Guru Gobind Singh Ji is, and even that were given to grandsons, or might be given to some other person from the family, had that been the case. But this was not the lineage.
He could have given it to one of his disciples.
Yes, sir. So it was not the lineage that should be given, sir.
We hear that so many, crore cases are lying in the courts today,
Yes, sir.
and the criminal justice system is suffering because of that. There are so many people with crime records who are also getting into the legislature. What is ailing the modern Indian judiciary, even after so many years of independence, that they are not able to dispose of the cases and they keep piling up?
Yes, sir. Sir, the delays are increasing, as you said. So firstly, sir, there are a number of vacancies in the courts. Vacancies are too high that the cases are not able to be heard by the court. Secondly, sir, when we talk about the morals and ethics of the advocates, sir, they keep on taking adjournments on adjournments and adjournments. Thirdly, sir, when we talk about this, then our police, with respect to criminal justice system, the investigation, it is delayed. This is again another reason. Fourthly, forensic science department of our country is lacking here, and we do not have that technology to fasten up it. And also we need to have fast track courts with respect to these, sir. And it is great cause of concern, sir, that justice is being delayed, sir.
Coming to the lack of judges in the high courts and the lower courts, there was a suggestion that we should have all India judiciary services, which would have possibly, catered for this. Why is the higher judiciary opposing this all the time?
Yes, sir. Sir, when we talk about all India judicial services, it is with respect to session judges of the respective courts. here, first problem, that is the language problem, so the judges that will be coming forward. And secondly, it is with respect to the states. Now the states are playing a huge role in appointment of the judges at the lower courts. So again, it is with respect to that the states will also be having the say when we are going to start AIJS. So these are the two contentious issues which are not letting this see the day of
You
light,
said
sir.
language will be a problem. You're preparing for civil services. Here also, tomorrow you may get posted to Tamil Nadu, Kerala.
Yes, sir.
So there you will learn the language, isn't it?
Definitely,
So
sir.
similarly, the judicial service officers can also learn
Yes,
the
sir.
language.
So this is the way out, sir. But as the concerns are mentioned, that with respect to language, when the judge is not able to listen to the entire case in a particular language, so yes, we need to make the changes. We need to incorporate the digital translation, or artificial intelligence can also be incorporated into this. Yes, we must be welcoming this, like we are having AI, like All India Services, IAS and IPS.
It is also alleged in some circles that because the higher judiciary wants to retain it into, that bhai bhatijawad, bring their friends for son or my son, and also it doesn't allow the lower judiciary people to be appointed as. At one time, it was said 50% of the higher judiciary officers should be from the lower judiciary, promoted to that,
Yes, sir.
which is not happening.
Yes, sir.
So if you have an all India judiciary services, there will be more chances that these people will get promoted into higher judiciary, and you will have not have so many vacancies because of which justice is being delayed to so many crores of people.
Yes, sir. Partly I agree with the first line, sir, but I beg to differ here that the lower judiciary, the state is taking the exams of the lower judiciary, and High Court is just a facilitator there, or so state is having more role there in the lower judiciary. But when it comes to upper judiciary, yes, then there is that the word you use, bhai bhatijawad, or there we need to bring more transparency in the collegium system itself, sir. And lower judiciary, yes, sir, AIJS is the solution, and also the transparency, and 50%, as you are saying, are the positive aspects. We can see it from that angle as well, sir.
Taking it further, you see the police system here. Ultimately, it goes to the judiciary. What ails the policing in India? And has anything been done about that?
Yes, sir. When we talk about policing here, the first thing that is that they lack the autonomy, and also they are more of a politicized, as Malimat committee says, that politician and police and the criminals nexus is there that needs to be broken. So this is one reason. And secondly, well equipped or modernized police we need, and also separate departments are required for law and order. And if we talk about for law and order and for investigation, separate departments are required, and more number of women, they are definitely required in the police services, which are not there, sir, right now.
So, have you heard of the Prakash Singh committee recommendations?
Yes, sir. Prakash Singh guidelines given by Honorable Supreme Court.
Okay. So, what are the 5 major guidelines?
Yes, sir. So firstly that there must be fixing the tenure of the DGP or of the police at one place for 2 years or something like that, sir. Secondly, with respect to the committee has to be set, or some separate body has to be formed, which is to be doing the shuffles or the transfers of the police. Thirdly, sir, right now I can just recall 2 only, sir. I need to check out.
You've written that your hobbies are Bhangra and skipping.
Yes, sir.
So how come Bhangra is connected with skipping? You've written Bhangra and skipping.
Sir, actually, either I do Bhangra or I do skipping, or alternatively, and so both are for the fitness and they helps you keep fit. And Bhangra is more of meditation. When you do Bhangra, you forget things.
Is it?
Yes,
This
sir.
is the first time I'm hearing this.
So you forget what is going on outside, and you're just into Bhangra, sir. You have your own smile in the mirror is making you more happy, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
My last question is, what is essentially the major difference between watercolors and oil colors? You've written that you love to do watercolors. What is the essential difference?
Sir, with respect to painting in watercolors, we are using the water, and in the oil colors, the binders, separate binders are used, specific binders are used. And when we talk about watercolors, they are more easy to handle than the oil colors. Oil colors being thick and watercolors being easily dissolving into the water. So these are two things that are correct.
But for the viewer, what is more enchanting? What is the difference when you see an oil or when you see a watercolor? Does the viewer have a different feeling altogether?
Yes, sir. Sir, in oil color painting, the colors come out more bright and they are more very much segregated. But when we do watercolor paintings, the intermixing of the colors, like these are leaving totally different impacts. When we see watercolor painting, there is more of intermixing of the colors, and lesser boundaries are seen in the painting. But in the case of oil paintings, there are more we can delineate the things from the painting. So that is how I see it.
Good. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Jaspinder, your father is a farmer.
Yes, sir.
Tell me, what is the status of land holdings in India?
Sir, it is different in the state from state to state.
National level, at national level, what is the status of land holding?
Sir, as in with respect to ceiling, or what is the average that?
What is the average land holding?
So average land holding, 86% of farmers, they're holding lesser than 1.5 acres of the land, or approximately, sorry, hectares, 2 hectares, lesser than 2 hectares of land.
What is small farmer is, and what is the definition of marginal farmers?
Yes, sir. So marginal farmer is one who is holding less than 1 hectare of the land, and small farmers holding lesser than 2 hectares of land. I might be with respect to these numbers, I might be little here or there, but yes, this is approximate.
And what is the average income of a farmer in India?
So recently I have read that this is 20,000 per year average income of farmer.
It's slightly more than that. Okay. Tell me whether the agriculture income is taxed in India or not?
No, sir, it is not taxed agriculture income in our country.
So do you think it should be taxed?
So outrightly saying that agriculture income should be taxed will not be a right answer, but yes, it should be taxed from the farmers who are bigger farmers, not from those 86% of farmers. And yes, sir, those who are earning beyond certain limit, yes, it can
That's
be
the
taxed.
case with the normal taxation system.
It
So
can
the
be
tax is
taxed.
being collected by the government. Who can pay the taxes?
Definitely, sir.
So asking the same question again, do you think agriculture should be taxed?
It can be taxed, sir.
So and why the government is not taxing it?
Firstly, sir, it is not easy to administer that how much the farmer is earning, and secondly, it is a political pressure on the parties where they want to serve, where they're not taking the action again with respect to this. Thirdly, sir, agriculture is a risky.
But that's an exclusion criteria, I can put it.
Yes.
Suppose a farmer is having purchased a tractor, somebody is having a vehicle. So all those data can be collected by the government, that can be taxed. Rest of them cannot be taxed.
Yes, sir, that is what I support, sir. You are absolutely right with respect to that. But we need to check several other things as well, because taxing agriculture income will rather help fight the evasion of taxes when the people say that we are having agriculture income along with other income. So yes.
Right now, exactly what is happening.
Yes, sir, that is what I am saying, sir.
So it's better to be taxed there. Now tell me, agriculture is a state subject. Then how come the central government can levy taxes?
So central government cannot levy the taxes on agriculture.
But income tax comes under the central government.
So, but the question was with respect to the agriculture taxation. So yes, states can levy the agriculture taxation, and as it is in the state list in the schedule.
Can you name any 2-3 states where agriculture is taxed?
Sorry, sir, I am not.
So there are certain states in which it is taxed.
I need to check, sir.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
There is a culture in Punjab with respect to the agriculture and electricity, in which after every 5 years the political system they wants to give away into the electricity bills. So because of that, there have been a lot of extraction of groundwater from electricity, from the groundwater. Now tell me, this is the one side of the story. On the other side, the government now has come up with various rights of the consumers. So government came up with electricity consumers of rights rules. Tell me any provisions of these rules. This is for the first time which has happened.
Yes, sir. Sir, firstly, with respect to consumer rights, the government is saying that every consumer is on demand. You can get the electricity. That is the first right of a consumer, and secondly, the supply of electricity will be safe, and it must be ensured and regular supply basically of electricity. So these are two things that.
And in case they fail to provide it.
So these are mere charters, and I am not aware with respect to the action that is. I need to check that, sir. I need to read the rules for that.
Okay. My last question is, as a lawyer,
Yes, sir.
you must have heard about the story of yesterday in which the police from 3 states, they were against each other. Tell me, as a lawyer, who was at fault?
Sir, it is the whole system that is where the political
No,
vengeance.
not the whole system. There has to be CRPC provision. There are sections 46, 76, etc.
Yes, sir.
So it's not the whole system which was at fault. There must be some fault by the police of one state or the second state.
Sir, some faults have been done by all three polices.
Like?
Like firstly, state of Punjab, when they went to take the person in the custody, and when he was arrested, they say that they have informed to the Delhi police, but they haven't presented it before the same magistrate for getting transit remand that could have been taken by.
Is transit remand mandatory
It
if
is
the
not.
travel time is less than?
It is
24
not
hours?
mandatory, sir.
So, okay. What was the next fault?
Next fault, when they were in the then another police, for example, Delhi police is not accepting that they were informed with respect to that, and they have rather filed FIR against another police and informed the state of Haryana's police with respect to that. And when it comes to state of Haryana, then they have stopped the police, and they are stopping the public servant from taking the necessary action that is to be taken.
Is Punjab also planning to lodge one more FIR against stopping any government?
So this is
officials
really
or
sad
performing
state of
activity?
affairs that is taking place, and it must be there must be stoppage to this, because we are a country where the states must be cooperating with each other. So that is what I.
Okay, thank you.
Sir. Thank you, sir.
Jaspinder, in the same context, what is D.K. Basu judgment?
So D.K. Basu judgment is 1997's judgment, where Honorable Supreme Court, it said that certain guidelines were given with respect to arrest to be made. And should I?
You remember some of the guidelines?
Some of the guidelines.
Please mention those.
So when the arrest is to be made, then a person should be informed of the charges, again, which is again in the Article 22 of the Constitution.
Okay, you mentioned that obstructing public services, public servants. So which sections it is dealt in IPC?
So I am not 100% sure, but 188, and with respect to nearly this section, there are sections.
Okay.
Yes.
Acha, tell me, Supreme Court is supreme because it is final, or Supreme Court is final because it is supreme?
So Supreme Court is the protector of our Constitution, and what it says with respect to the Constitution and laws, that is final. And it is supreme because it is protecting our Constitution. So that is what I would say. And it is supreme because Constitution has given that power to check the constitutionality of laws. So
Acha, where does it derive? The Supreme Court derives its power
with respect
to do substantial justice.
So 141 of Article 141 of Indian Constitution.
Do you think we are moving towards? I think it is
142.
142.
Yes, sir. Sorry, sir.
Do you think we are moving towards a system of inquisitorial system of justice with so many court monitored investigations?
So rather, we are having adversarial system. So I cannot say that we are.
What is an inquisitorial system?
So where the one party is questioned, or I need to check, sir.
What is adversarial system?
Sir, in adversarial, there are two parties. Two parties are given chance for the pleading, and then they give their plea, and the bench asks the questions if there are any.
And what is inquisitorial then?
Sir, I need to check that.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
My last question to you is about, you mentioned that calculating the income of the farmer is difficult. Do you think calculating the income of lawyers is easy?
It's not easy, sir, because it is not.
Does the income earned by lawyer come under the provisions of GST?
So it's income, so it is not under GST.
The services rendered by lawyers, is it under GST?
No, sir. As per my limited knowledge, it is not under GST.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. What we'll do is we'll make a consultation among ourselves and call you back for feedback. Would that
Fine,
be all
sir.
right? If you
Yes,
can
sir.
step outside.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. May I come in, sir?
Come, please come.
Thank you, sir.
Come.
Thank you, sir.
Well, let us give you a slight kind of an impression of feedback on how you've been fairly relaxed. You come across as very, very sort of comfortable in your own skin, and easy to answer. Answering also with certain amount of relaxed, method. There's a fair amount of reflection also, but I think on some issues perhaps you need to brush up in terms of your factual details, etc. Go ahead.
No, Jaspinder, first of all, I was quite impressed with your poise, with your relaxed attitude. You have a certain level of confidence, and you spoke, you were articulate,
Thank you, sir.
and you listened to the question attentively and then tried to answer. I mean, all these aspects were there and they were pretty good. In consumer rights, it was, did you know anything with regard to that, or you were just taking a very safe guess that you have to get a connection and you have to get electricity?
So I have read it, but I have read this much, very
No,
limited.
that is a very common thing, that you will get a connection and you will get electricity.
On demand, it is said
On
that now
demand.
you are going to get it on demand.
The crux of it is somewhere else.
Yes, fine, sir.
Timelines and all that. So you have to be careful there, because if you don't know something, look, let's be very frank. And in factual issues, if you don't know anything, or you want to take a guess, then inform them that you want to take a guess.
Fine, sir.
But if you don't know something and then take a guess without informing them that you are taking a guess, won't be advisable.
Yes, sir.
Because you are not being penalized for not knowing something, because you are not expected to know everything under the sky.
Yes, sir.
You get the point?
Yes, sir.
And but yes, you are expected to know something which is connected to your DAF in some way or the other, your educational background, your subject knowledge, your profession, whatever you're doing. There you are expected to know, otherwise not.
Yes, sir.
So it's better that, there is no harm in saying, I don't know, sir. I'm sorry, sir, I don't know.
Fine, sir.
There is no harm. Or say, I'll hazard a guess, sir, if you allow.
Fine, sir.
And they may not allow sometimes. And then that's it.
Yes, sir.
So, but otherwise you come out as a very good candidate. And I am certain that you have a very high chances of making it through.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Just read about what is there on 18th of May. I think a lot of things are there.
Museum Day.
National Museum Day is there. One more is there related to 1857 or something. Just read about that in advance.
Fine, sir.
Also, without realizing that what you are going to speak will have an impact upon you, in few instances you said something. For example, you said open sale of buffer stock. Now, open sale of buffer stock will cause a lot of inflation. Think now why it has never been done. Ab tak kyun nahi hua? Because the government is procuring at a subsidy price. If they will sell it at the normal prices, at the economics, it is going to cause inflation, plus WTO के restrictions आएंगे उसपे.
Fine, sir.
National restrictions आएंगे. This was one thing on which you said. Second, you said about related to the sex ratio. You said in Kerala it is more than 1000, which is good, right?
Approximately 1000, which is 100.
What is the normal biological natural sex ratio? It is 1050. So अगर 150 से कम है तो वो ज़्यादा कैसे हुआ? So दो mistake किया. एक तो you assume that 1000 is more, and second, Kerala is having a sex ratio more than 1120, 1130. So 130 kids गायब कर दिया आपने.
Okay, so actually maybe I have said about child sex ratio. Recently I read about child sex ratio.
No, you just
Yes,
normal
sir,
वाला
yes,
बात.
sir,
तो
yes,
उस पे
sir.
थोड़ा सा
Yes,
ध्यान
sir.
रखना मतलब.
Yes, sir.
Otherwise it took stand. काफी empathetic answers थे आपके related to that causes of concern of delaying of cases, pending cases in the Supreme Court.
Yes, sir.
You added one extra word at the end, which is a major cause of concern, sir. So it
Yes,
shows the stand and empathetic nature of the aspirant as well. So those things were good, but कहीं कहीं थोड़ा सा फैक्ट का गड़बड़ कर रहे हो, लॉ के जो नॉलेज है वो कम है. But sir asked a question which was very basic.
Sir, yes.
That is very basic. मतलब that is expected to know the
Yes.
difference between adversarial system and inquisitorial system. वो दोनों पता ही होना चाहिए था. Then I think, yeah, if you can wear a plain white shirt, that will be better.
Yes, sir.
Not
I will
this
be
one.
wearing plain white
I think, yeah, that's it. Otherwise, you have nice expressions, engaging personality. The panel members will not be bored. मतलब चाहे morning में हो चाहे evening में हो, किसी भी half में होगा, मतलब you are there.
Wake everyone up.
Yes,
Fine, sir. Thank you.
you are confident also. Other things are good.
Fine, sir.
They will
ऐसे ही रहना, relax.
That's it.
Yes, sir.
they will listen to you for 30 minutes. Now you have to work upon the content part,
Fine, sir.
so that they will like the content as well.
Fine, sir.
ठीक है.